Hello, welcome to Kitchen Basics 101, where I teach you the bare bone basics as if you've never cooked a day in your life from the perspective of a mom. Okay, I get this question a lot and we have done it before on the channel, but I feel like it never hurts to do a little refresher. First of all, the most important tool in your kitchen, and one that I definitely recommend that every chef should have, is a chef's knife. If this is the only knife you have in your house, then this is all you need. This is probably, I think it's a 7-inch chef's knife. I think it's a 7-inch. Yeah, let me compare it to my other one. This one might be an 8-inch chef's knife. I also have a Calphalon here. This one's listed. It says it's a 7-inch chef's knife and it looks a little bit smaller than my Olive Joy. This knife is the one that I have listed, and it is my favorite knife that I've ever owned, and it was super cheap, under $20, but it's currently not available. So I'll try to get to the bottom of what's going on with that. But if you can find this knife, this Olive Joy, this is my favorite. It's perfectly balanced for me. It's really nice and thin. It stays nice and sharp. And I love that price because I think sometimes people spend hundreds of dollars on these things and they really don't need to. Now, if you're a full-on professional, there's a process where you use a stone and you use a leather, or even some chefs take their knives to professional sharpeners. I have found as a home chef that none of that is really necessary. What I use is a basic home sharpener. This one is by a company called Smith's that makes this type of thing specifically. This is not Smith's the grocery store. This is Smith's the knife sharpening company. And I have this one listed in all the places, but this is the one that I've used. And then I used to use this Henkel's one, but this one I think has gotten dull and I probably should part with it. But I have a hard time parting with things. A couple things. It's super simple. It has a coarse and it has a fine. And this one also has a scissors sharpener. So this is to sharpen your scissors. And sharpening your scissors will change your life. It's likely that your scissors are dull. So all I do is I take the coarse first and I put it in between. There's like a little groove here. And I just pull it towards me and I go upward a little bit so that you can get the tip, because as you can see, the knife kind of goes up at the end. It gets smaller. So I go through and up to the tip. I go through the course maybe like 2 or 3 times, and you can kind of feel if there's little spots that catch or don't catch when you go through the course, okay? Then you go through the fine a couple of times. So this is just finer to kind of polish up that edge. Right, so you're going to go through that a couple of times. Beautiful. And I'm holding the handle. The other handle, I'm pressing down. It has like little pads to keep it from moving. And I'm pressing it down into the counter. Okay, when you're done, there's going to be little flecks of steel all over this knife, okay? So it's important that you wipe it, but obviously be careful because it's sharp. So what I do is I come from the back of the knife, the part that's dull, and I go forward and I put my cloth, just like pinch it between my 2 fingers, and I go across, okay? And now that's a nice sharp edge. Since I have you, I want to talk about a few other things. So for me, other knives tend to have this profile be thicker. I like that this is nice and slim. It makes for really beautiful cuts when it's sturdy, like it can handle going through a steak. It can handle going through a big gourd or melon, but it's slim enough that you can get a nice fine dice, okay? This one, which is just slightly thicker, you can kind of tell at the top here at the thickness. It's slightly thicker. This one is, I have had this knife for almost 30 years. I've literally had this knife 27 years. And it still gets used every single day and it's still in great shape. Now it does have, what you can't see, a bunch of like nicks in it. And when you pull it through the sharpener, at least for me, I can really feel each one of those nicks, okay? And the reason it does is because carelessly it's been thrown in the sink, it's been banged up against things, it's been scraped across the cutting board. These are all things that are bad practices with your knives, okay? You should really treat your knives like babies. And if you really only have one good chef's knife, then that's pretty easy to do. Never put her in the dishwasher, even if it says it's dishwasher safe. I would hand wash with a nice soapy water and a sponge, give it a nice rinse, and put it somewhere where it's not going to get banged up. If you throw it in the sink or you scrape it across your cutting board, you're likely going to end up with nicks in it like this knife. This knife has nicks in it. Now, to be fair to this knife with its nicks in it, This knife's almost 30 years old. It's 27 years old. It's been being used every single day for 27 years. So she certainly put in her service, and I'm completely okay with her having a couple nicks in her. But I'm just saying, try to avoid that by treating your knives kindly. Then, since I have you here, I'm just going to tell you that if your knife is serrated, which means these little up and down, this is what serrated means. This is a great knife for pastries and breads. That's what I use this for. This is a pastry knife specifically. I like it. It's nice and long. It's super thin and has teeth. This also does a great job on tomatoes and things that have that like thin skin. But this knife is not sharpenable by this type of sharpener. If you go over this, this will just be dulling your serrated knife edge. So this knife will wear out. The serrated part will become less and less serrated and will probably need to be replaced. It has a, I don't want to say cheap, but it just has a plastic handle. It's not very heavy. This knife is not cheap though. It probably runs about $40, $50, but it's an excellent tool to have in the kitchen. So this is all you need. This is all you need. But if you want to go to that next level, this will cut through sourdough like butter. It just does a great job on breads. It does a great job on tomatoes because it's really nice and super thin, which I love. But this knife you cannot sharpen with a sharpener like this. You can only sharpen a straight edge knife that just has a sharp edge on it. Okay? I hope that helps. I hope I explained well. And if you guys have more questions, please ask. Please feel free. Everything here should be listed in all the places. This one's 𝐿, which is a Henkel's brand, which is a brand I definitely trust. And like I said, I've had this knife for a really long time, but it's going to run you a little bit pricier. And then I'll try to find out what's going on with the 𝐿𝐸𝐽, because this is my favorite knife of all time. And this knife is under $20. And they also have a nice paring knife that they make that goes with it. And I'm obsessed with it. It's my favorite knife. So I'll try to figure out what's going on with that and let you guys know. Thanks.